So you can find the recordings in this channel actually. So if you search join DevOps Siva, so you'll get something like this. Okay, so here I'm uploading all the classes related content here. Okay, you can just go here and then, so you don't need to wait for my message. You can directly check in this channel after 1 or 2 hours. I will process the recording and I'll upload here. So yesterday I uploaded here, and you can find some other sessions also. So like resume preparation, whatever we conducted, and few Terraform sessions and Linux free sessions. This is the Linux anyhow we will teach in the DevOps, but if you go through this before attending DevOps sessions, it will be very good. You will get more confidence, and we have some shell scripting classes as well. Okay. So today we will discuss about operating system and scripting in DevOps. Okay. So for example, if you are attending DevOps sessions after 1 week or 2 weeks, so it is always good for you to prepare something from your side instead of attending with zero knowledge. Just you randomly search YouTube channels or anything and try to gain some knowledge. And if you attend the sessions, then it will be very good for yourself. So a simple example, if a teacher is teaching something tomorrow, if you read something about that today, then you will get more confidence, you will get more excitement in the classes. Like you already know something about the concept, so your focus also will be increased very high. So that's why I always recommend our students to at least read something in the internet and then come to the class so that their focus will be increased. So here you can find the complete Linux sessions. You can go through these sessions to understand Linux in a better way. Anyhow, we will teach again, but it's always good for you to go through. Okay. Yeah, so I'll upload the recordings of this overview sessions here. So today we will discuss about operating systems and scripting. Okay. So do you know what is the popular operating system as a user? Like not a soft IT, what is the popular operating system as a user? So it's a Windows. What is the popular operating system as a server? Yeah, so that is Linux. So we will see why Linux is more powerful than Windows in the server world. Okay, and then so let us see here. So what is the operating system used by supercomputers? So you know supercomputers are the powerful computers in this world. Okay, so Linux is the popular operating system even in the world of supercomputers. Okay, so there are some reasons. So if you are starting a business, restaurant business, you want your application to be hosted in a server. So first of all, what is server, what is computer, what is laptop, what is mobile? So it's an electronic computing device. Okay. So based on the usage, we just categorized. One is desktop. So this is for personal use. So you use it for the browsing, shopping, games, movies, etc. So do you think we use server for the same purpose? Can we use server for the browsing, shopping, games, and movies? No. So this is only single purpose. That is to host the applications. Okay, so if you have a server to host the application, you should not do anything except to host the application. Okay, so you will create an application server, you will host the application inside it, and you never use it for any other purpose. Okay, so that is why we call it as server. Server is nothing but a single serving purpose. So mobile, you know, the same usage, just like desktop. Okay, but all these are the, I can say all these are like, you can call your mobile also as server, you can call your desktop also as a server. So it has all the electronic devices has the same characteristics. It has some RAM, it has some CPU, processor, CPU and processor both are same. and then hard disk. Okay, so you are buying a mobile, what you will see here is how much RAM, what is the processor it is using, Snapdragon or some Qualcomm processor, or hard disk, how much storage it has, what is the operating system it has, either Android or Mac or iOS. So you will check all these parameters. Why? Because these are the parameters so that any electronic computing device, okay, not only your desktop server and mobile, even nowadays our TVs also coming with this, okay, smart TVs. So all these things are same, but server has powerful RAM, powerful processor, more hard disk, and some powerful OS like Linux. And yeah, so these are the 4 characteristics. Server has some more power, but every electronic device has the same. Okay, so you can host the application in your laptop, and you can open it in the internet also, doing some simple technique. Okay, that is like port forwarding in your modems. So what is the point I want to say here is your desktop, your server, your mobile, everything is an electronic computing device that has these characters, but server has some powerful specifications other than desktop and mobile. Okay, so as a business owner, I want my server to consume low power, so I will get less electricity bill. I want my server to give more performance. Okay, and then free OS, and then more stability. Okay, so these are the, and it should consume less memory. Okay, if you check your Windows OS, for example, so you can see here, even a bare minimum applications you run, you can see the memory, the CPU percentage it is occupying. So why is it consuming too much memory? I don't know what are all these running in the background. Yes, you can see how many processes are running, because these are the default process run by Microsoft. Okay, for example, you buy 16 GB, my system is 32 GB. So out of 32 GB, you can see 10 GB RAM is gone already. And you can see the percentage of CPU is also quite high compared to the specs. Okay, so Windows has more graphics. If you have more graphics, you should need more memory. Okay, just you start the Windows OS, it will by default it will consume 6 GB RAM. Okay, because of its graphics. So in Linux, we don't have any graphics. Everything is a text. So processing is very high. Linux is text. So if text processing is very high, right? If you are opening Excel sheet, so that will take some time. But if you are opening any notepad text file, that will open very fast, because text processing is very, very fast. Okay. And then low power. So if you have less graphics, obviously low power. Obviously low power. And this is free, because in Linux is invented by Linus Torvalds. His name is Linus Torvalds. So before Linux, we have a popular operating system, that is Unix. Okay, so Unix has some disadvantages. Unix is high cost. Okay, so normal persons like you and me, we cannot afford. Okay, big companies, big MNC companies can only afford Unix operating system, and tight coupling with hardware. Okay, can you install Windows in your Mac OS laptop? No, we cannot install Windows in Mac OS. Okay, because that is a tight coupling with hardware. If you want to buy Unix operating system, then you must buy the underlying hardware also. Okay, you must buy the server on top of it, Unix. You cannot install Unix in our personal laptops in any other server, just like Mac OS. Mac OS also you cannot install in our personal laptops. Okay, because it is tightly coupled with the hardware. So both OS and then computer will come as a single unit. So these two are the disadvantages of Unix at the time, but it is more secure. So Linus Torvalds was working in this Unix company. Okay, so then one day he bought a personal laptop. So at that time, the only option for the personal laptop OS was MS-DOS from Windows, from IBM. Okay, so this is the MS-DOS. You all know, maybe while using your laptop for the first time, MS-DOS will load. So this is the MS-DOS. People were working like this with the MS-DOS laptop back in 1980s. Okay, so he had only that option. So now, but that is also costly. He thought, why can't I develop a OS which is free, open source, no hardware lock? Okay, he's already working in Unix team. You know, he knows the operating system principle. So he started developing Linux OS. Okay, based on Unix principles. Based on Unix principles, he started Linux. Okay, so but don't think Linux is from Unix. From the scratch, he developed the code using C language and he created Linux operating system and he installed in his laptop. Okay, so the characteristics are: it is completely free, open source. You can see the code directly, and you can also develop the code, and no hardware lock. You can install that OS in any personal laptop. So these are the characteristics. So obviously, if you are the business owner, if there is no cost, open source, no hardware lock, then obviously you prefer Linux as your operating system OS. So slowly it was becoming very, very popular. People were not using Unix, and now you can see that there was one person, he mentioned Linux cancer. Okay, so in 2001, Linux was not popular yet. So, but at that time, one person, he was using Linux and he said, Linux is becoming like cancer. Everybody will use Linux. So now in the entire server world, 96.4% of the servers are in Linux. Okay. So that is why even you are the developer, you are DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, or support, whatever the technology you are working in, your all underlying tools and tools, and then your installations will be in mostly Linux. Okay, for example, if you are a developer, don't think you should not know, you don't know Linux. Okay, because when something goes wrong, you have to log into the Linux server and you need to check what's going wrong. Okay, so so this is why Linux server is very popular, and everybody working in IT technology, IT company or IT field, you should understand, you should learn at least intermediate level of Linux. Okay. So in Linux, everything is a command. Maybe for the first time, you feel this is something like black screen. You may feel it is not good, but once you started using it, it is very fast. You will be addicted to the Linux operating system and you feel that is very comfortable than Windows. Okay, so in Linux, we have two variants. Again, desktop version like Ubuntu, and we have server version like Ubuntu server or CentOS, and we have Oracle, we have SUSE, Fedora. So we have a lot of OS. So in Linux, these things are called as distributions. Okay. So everybody think Linux is a operating system, but Linux is a kernel. Kernel, we will see what is kernel. So if you say Linux architecture or any operating system architecture, So this is the hardware. Even your laptop also some hardware. You have the processor, hard disk, RAM, everything. So on top of it, hardware, we have the kernel. Okay, kernel is the one that interacts with hardware in any operating system, not only Linux, even in Windows, Mac OS also. On top of this kernel, we have a shell. Okay, shell you can see in Windows also we have a command prompt. So that is called Windows shell. In Linux also we have the shell. That is nothing but the terminal. Okay. So on top of this shell, you install the applications. Like if you're using VLC media player or Chrome browser, first it will interact with shell, and then the shell will interact with kernel. Finally, kernel will interact with hardware. Okay. So in Windows, we don't have this graphics like application something. We don't have graphics. We will directly interact with shell. So that is why it is somewhat fast and more performance than Windows. Okay, so Linux is a kernel. Linus Torvalds released this code to the public. Okay, and everybody, even you and me, can take the code and we can develop on top of the kernel. We can develop the applications and release as our own OS. Applications are, I can say, utilities. So he developed Linux kernel plus shell. Okay, so on top of this, companies like Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay. So they develop few applications and utilities and release as Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Similarly, Ubuntu also. So they take this Linux kernel plus some utilities that is equal to Ubuntu OS. Okay. So Android is also Linux OS. Okay, but it has some graphics. Okay, so any person in this world or any company can take the Linus Torvalds Linux kernel code and they develop some utilities on top of it and they can release it as their own operating system. Okay, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux is the big company. Okay, so that has the popular OS like Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now they are running 8 and 9 version. Okay, Red Hat Enterprise Linux is very costly. Okay, only companies can afford, but we have something like CentOS and then Fedora and AWS Linux too. So all these are based on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux is open source. Open source doesn't mean you can take it and use it 100%. Okay, open source is they will give the code. Okay, but they cannot give you the support. For example, if you are facing any issue in the operating system, you have to solve on your own. But if you take Red Hat Enterprise Linux support, so they will come in call with you. So they will take some 1 hour, 2 hours of time, they can resolve the issue. But these are community versions. Community OS. You will not get the support. You will only get the community support. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux is the enterprise. Enterprise is nothing but you need to pay something. You need to pay some amount. So nowadays everything is, they say it is free, but it is not completely free. Up to some limit only it is free. After that you have to pay the money. For example, I use JPR for the automation. So they say it is free. Some automations. So they say it is free, but what is free? Up to 1,000 tasks only it is free. More than 1,000 tasks if you want to use, you need to upgrade the plan. You can, so our Zoom software is also free, but how much it is free? Only for first 40 minutes it is only free. So after that, if you want to use, you need to upgrade your plan. Okay, so like that, open source does not mean everything is for free. Okay, so you have the code, you have the community support, but you have some limitations. So that's why companies always take some licensed OS like Red Hat Enterprise Linux. If you are working in a banking projects, mostly they use RHEL. Okay, some other projects like retail, so they may use CentOS, Fedora, AWS Linux too. So these operating systems they can use. Okay, so for our sessions, we are going to use CentOS because it is 100% same as RHEL. Okay, and even you can use Ubuntu also. So all these Linux flavors or distributions, we call them as Android is one of the Linux flavor, Ubuntu is one of the Linux flavor, RHEL is one of the Linux flavor, and then SUSE, Oracle. So all these are Linux flavors or distributions. They are 99.9% same. Okay, so just few commands will differ. For example, in Ubuntu, it is apt-get install. In CentOS, it is yum install. Okay. So that's the only difference. Few commands will change. Other than that, everything is same. So inside operating system, what are the things you must understand? Okay, basic commands like cat, listing directories, moving, copying, and then tar, head, tail. So some of the commands. So in Linux, the syntax is command name and then options. That's it. Okay. So you can just read the command and understand what it is doing. You need to provide some inputs, then it can do the thing. Okay. So, but in operating system, you need to learn user management as a DevOps engineer. So that is nothing but how to create users, create groups, adding users to group. Similarly, removing is nothing but when the employee leaves the company, you need to remove him from the group. You need to remove his user credentials, everything. Okay, so that is the basic thing you should understand, how to create the users. So even in our Windows, we have the users, like you have the guest user, you have the admin user, you have the normal users. So we are working in our companies. We are not the administrator for our laptops. We are just user. Okay. And then package management. How you install the packages. In Windows, you go to the browser, directly download the exe file, and you do some clicks, then you can get the software ready. But in Linux, everything is a command. You need to do package installations through some commands. And then service management and process management and network management. So these are not only the Linux server concepts, this is the any operating system concepts. Okay, so you have in your Windows also, you have a lot of process running. When something is not responding, what you do, you just come here and then you will kill it. Okay, so that is what you do, right? So similarly in Linux also, you will have a lot of process running. You need to manage those processes. If some process is not responding, you can kill it. Service management is starting the package as service. Okay, so you'll understand all these things in the Linux sessions, but today I'm giving the overview of the importance of Linux OS. So it is mandatory as a DevOps and cloud engineer to understand Linux OS. Okay, so these are the things you should learn as part of Linux server. How to create Linux server? So maybe 5-6 years back, everybody was using Oracle Virtual VM Box in your laptops, and you were creating Linux VM or Ubuntu VM in your own laptop. But if you do that now, so your laptop can consume all the resources. Your laptop may crash anytime. Okay, so don't use Oracle Virtual VM Box in your laptops. Okay, so earlier cloud was not mandatory in the IT. Now cloud is mandatory everywhere. So we are teaching from 2017. We are definitely teaching. We know cloud is going to be the big blast in the IT. So we were teaching everything in the cloud. So everybody, every one of you must create cloud account. Okay, AWS cloud. Why? Because earlier days we have the infrastructure in our company's data centers. Companies have some data centers, servers, networking team, administration team, and then some physical security persons. So a lot of air cooling, everything we have as a data center. But companies is not creating data centers now. If any new project is getting started, that is definitely going to be in the cloud. Okay. So why we have on-premise versus cloud? Why we prefer cloud? Okay, can someone please type in the chat also with me? That is good. So if it is on-premise data center, just understand you need to take a room. First thing, physical space is required. And you need to have networking. Okay, you need to get the networking from Airtel or Geo, something, whatever you take it. Okay, and you need to have some security persons, some security guys. For the data center, for the building. Okay, and then what else? You need to continuously do the maintenance. Okay, you need to do the OS installations. Okay, you need to give some power connections. If there is a power outage, then that's it, your entire business is gone. Okay, so for example, I'm going to start a restaurant business. Okay, these are all not my responsibilities actually. My only goal is to maintain my restaurant. I should not do any other tasks like this. So if I start doing, creating my, maintaining my own server, connecting, networking, so I need to hire each and every person. I need to pay rent for this, or I need to own a place. I need to hire a networking team. I need to hire some security guys. I need to maintain it. Okay, I need to do some OS. I need to have OS installation team. So I need to get from power connections. Okay, so these are the unnecessary investments and unnecessary burdens. So my primary intention of running a business is getting deviated, and I am forced to manage all these tasks. So because of this burden, so generally AWS started the cloud. So okay, so Amazon was a book selling online company. Okay, so there he has his own data center. So when Amazon was a book selling company, he has his own data center like this. He was doing everything. Then one day he got an idea. So most of the resources was not used. Okay, maybe he was using only 10 to 20% of resources of this data center. Then he got an idea. So why can't I give the remaining resources to some other companies? Then he started giving some of the resources like 20%, 30% of his server resources to others. So then he got the cloud computing idea at the time. Then he started Amazon Web Services. Now it is the biggest business in the world. So each and every company realized we are spending our time, we are spending our efforts, we are spending our money on unnecessary things. We can just go for cloud infrastructure. We can pay whatever we use. Okay, we no need to maintain large teams. So that's why everybody is moving to cloud. So without cloud, there will be no interview as a DevOps and cloud engineer. So you may think like, I know only DevOps, I don't know cloud. Then they will definitely understand you are not the real-time person, because every project in this world is using the cloud. Okay, at least 95%, 90% of the projects. If you say I don't know cloud, then definitely you are not the person working in real time. So learning cloud is mandatory. So we have a lot of clouds like AWS, Azure, GCP, Alibaba, DigitalOcean, and many things. Okay, but AWS is the market leader. AWS is the one who invented the cloud, and it is more stable. It has more services. It is cheap compared to the Azure. Okay, and for the first time learner, learning AWS is very easy because it has the rich interface. but every cloud only give you free trial. Okay, free trial does not mean you can create everything for free. Okay, so there are some limitations you should go through. Okay, with a single click, you can create the server. But back in 2010 or up to 2015, it's creating the server was taking at least a month of time. Okay, so you need to buy the server, you need to install the OS, you need to keep it inside the data center, giving the network connection, power connection, everything was taking at least 1 month of time. Now it is coming to the 1 or 2 minutes of time. You can create the server, you can connect to it. Okay. So my recommendation is each and every one of you must create cloud account. So while creating AWS cloud account, you may feel, you may get some errors. For example, you use your friend debit card or credit card, but you give your full name. Okay, so you should not do that. Okay, when you are using cloud account, so the debit card, your friend wants the debit card, then you give his full name. Okay, for example, if you create new AWS account, you can give your email address, not a problem, but you need to give your first name and last name based on the debit card. If your debit card is on your mother's name, then you should give the first name as your mother name. Okay, so then you will address also. Name should be same as debit card name or credit card name. And then address also should be used same as banking address. So if you follow these things, then your cloud account will be created. Otherwise, you will face a lot of errors. So maybe 2-3 years back, cloud companies were not checking these details. But nowadays, every cloud company is checking whether the details given by you are valid or not valid. Okay, so don't forget these things while creating the cloud account. So now we will discuss how to connect Linux servers. So SSH, secure shell. Okay, secure shell is the protocol to connect to Linux server. Okay, so for example, now let us discuss a simple. So here you have a box. Okay, for example, some physical box, and you are locking it. Okay, you have a box and you are locking it. Who can open this? I am seeing the box. I am seeing the lock. Can I open it? Who can open? Someone who has the key can open. Okay. So similarly, Linux server is a box. Generally, we call it as a box also. You call Linux server as box, server, node, whatever, it is same. You know the Linux server IP address. I know the Google IP address. Can I open the Google server? I know Google public key also. Here, if you just go here, you can get the certificate from here. Can you open it? No. Okay. Who has the private key only can open. So just like you are seeing the box, it means you know the Linux server IP address and you know the Linux server public key. It is available in internet for Google public key also. But can we open? No. So whoever has private key, they only can open. So this is the SSH key mechanism. Okay, so here we have the physical lock, and then these two are the pair. Okay, similarly in IT world, so we have public key and private key are pair. Unique pair in universe. So what we do, we generate public key and private key. We need to upload. So what we need to upload, private key or public key to the server? Can someone please type in the chat? So here you are seeing, what is this? Is this public or private? Okay, so it is public. So we need to upload public key to the server. Okay, you can openly tell your IP address and your public key to the world until unless your systems are secure. Okay, then nobody can open except you because you have the private key. So this is not only for Linux, even for GitHub authentication tokens, every token mechanism, authentication token mechanism, you can use this public key and private key. So now let us understand how to generate. So all of you, you can download this Git Bash software. You download for Windows and just install it. Then you will get like this Git Bash. Okay, how can I open is SSH hyphen keygen hyphen F. You can give your file name. Okay, for example, I want to create on my name. Okay, so they will ask for passphrase. You don't need to enter, just do it. So now you can get two files. One is pub and the other one is private. Okay, so this is the command to generate public key and private key. So now you will get two files. So this is private and this is public dot pub. So you can rename this as .pem also. Pem is the extension for private key. Okay, so let me rename it. Just give .pem. Okay, so you upload the public key to the server, then you have the private key with you. So when you create the OS here, I'm just giving Linux. You select Amazon Linux 2 or anything. So any server, any Linux distribution, it is the same concept. Okay. So you can create your key pair here also. In AWS also, you can create the public key and private key. For example, if you create here, I'm just giving Linux. Okay, I'm selecting PEM. Then what AWS does in the background is they will upload the Linux public key to the server automatically, and they are downloading you to the private key. And just keep everything same. Okay, it will take 1 or 2 minutes maximum time. So it has some other concepts in AWS, something like security groups. We will discuss those things in our DevOps sessions, but I'm trying to tell you Linux overview, and then how can you connect the Linux server. So public key and private key is the popular mechanism, not only in SSH authentication, in GitHub also, in HTTPS also, everywhere public key and private key is the popular mechanism. You should understand. Okay, how you connect to this server is just go to the GitHub. So my key is downloaded in the downloads folder, SSH -i. -i is nothing but path for your private key. So that is in /c users, users, downloads, and linux.pem. Okay, and your username. So by default, Amazon Linux to username is EC2 user @ IP address. This is the IP address. Just say yes. You are inside the Linux server. So this is that much easy to create the Linux server. Within minutes you can create. Okay. So many troubleshooting, we will get this error SSH-e pem file path wherever it is, and then username @ IP. Okay. So not only this SSH, everywhere protocol, IP address, port number, username, and password. Okay, so in this entire software world, protocol is very important. How you are connecting to the server. You can connect using HTTP also. For example, if I type facebook.com, which protocol it is following? Can someone please type? So this is the HTTPS protocol. And this is nothing but the IP address. And it is asking username. It is asking password. By default, it uses 443. Okay. So to connect to the server, you should use protocol. You should use its IP address. You should use its port number. You should use its username, password, or private key, anything. Okay. So SSH protocol by default, it will open port number 22. HTTPS port number 443. HTTP port number 40. So you are connecting to the Facebook server. Do you think you have the administration access of the Facebook server? No. Okay, you are just using facebook.com website, that is through HTTPS protocol, but you don't have any administrative access. Who has the administrative access? Whoever has Facebook password or private key and username, they has the administrator access. They can connect to this Facebook server. So if something is wrong in Facebook, then Facebook employees connect to the Facebook server using SSH protocol. Okay, so every server has lot of protocols. We have a lot of protocols in software, so our internet. So SSH is one of it, and HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, FTP, SFTP, DHCP, DNS. We have a lot of things. Okay, so but you should understand SSH, how to connect to the server. So this is the area where we get a lot of troubleshooting connections issues. Okay, so in DevOps, we will connect multiple servers. So you should check the connections between the servers. So this is very important to understand how to create the server and how to connect to it. Not only in AWS, any cloud vendor. Okay. So now I hope I just gave you some overview on Linux and its importance. So each and every one of you just go and then refer these videos. Just type join DevOps Siva in the YouTube. So you can find my channel, English channel. Here you can use Linux playlist. Before attending the DevOps sessions, if you go through these videos, then you'll get more confidence. So now we will understand the scripting. Okay. So everybody is asking, I don't know coding, just give me something which don't have any coding. Okay. So there is no technology in IT which don't have any coding. Maybe you can find some tools like some jobs on WebSpaceMQ, WebLogic server, JBoss server, but there also they will ask you shell scripting, because you need to install Jenkins server, for example. So where you install, obviously inside Linux. You need to run 20 commands to this. Just like a simple difference. You have some logs. I mean, not dot logs. You have some logs in your farm. Okay, you want them to move to your house. How you move? You carry one by one, or you hire an lorry or DCM to move them. Okay. Carrying log one by one is a manually running commands. So to install a Jenkins server, if you run one command each time, then it is manually running commands. But if you hire an auto, so this is one-time automation task. Okay. So whatever the area you are working, for example, you are SQL developer. So your manager or your client wants you to do the scripting in PLSQL. Okay, if you are a web server, WebLogic, and then JBoss server administrator, then definitely your team leader will ask you to learn shell scripting to do the work. Okay, so because you know how to install Jenkins server, but if you log inside the server and spend half an hour time to install the Jenkins server, that is a time waste and manual task. But if you create a script to install Jenkins, so then this is automation. If you have the script ready, okay, so then you can use that script to install Jenkins server in n number of servers, like thousands of servers. You can use the same script. Okay, so I have in my GitHub account, I have a lot of shell scripting videos. Okay, you can see here. Okay, you can understand shell scripting from this. Okay, in our channel also, I have a lot of shell scripting videos. You can go through them. Okay, you can see shell scripting. I have around 4 or 5 videos. Okay, so scripting is mandatory. So a lot of persons may have some misconception. Should I learn Java? Should I learn .NET? So no, you don't need to learn. So coding is two types. One is programming, what our developers are doing, like Java, .NET, Python, and Go, PHP. So these are the programming languages. Scripting languages, we have many. Shell, Ansible, everything is scripting now. Terraform. So all these are scripting languages. What is the difference between programming and scripting? Programming is, for example, if you withdraw cash from ATM, so in background, there are a lot of tasks happening. So money will be deducted from your account and you will get a lot of messages, emails, and then your bank accounts will be updated with the latest balance. And there will be some transaction IDs, history, lot of things are happening in the background. So that is done by the programming guys, not by us. Okay. So scripting, what is scripting is? Scripting is a simple automation. Okay. Just to install Jenkins server, do you think you will write a Java program? No. We use either shell script or some Ansible script. Okay. Scripting is a simple task. Very, very simple. Instead of running 20 commands at a time, keep those 20 commands in a single file and write some simple conditions, a simple if condition or loop, variables, and functions. That's it. Okay. So these are the concepts in programming as well as scripting, but we use very light. I can say scripting is maximum 5 to 10% of programming. So programming is very complex. You need to query database. You need to understand the transaction management, session management. You need to process the request in very less time. Okay, so that is why the programming is very difficult. Our Facebook developers, if you see Facebook is responding very slow, do you think you use Facebook? Amazon.com is responding very slow. Do you go and order inside Amazon? No. So our developers' responsibility is to develop the applications with ultimate performance that consumes less time and less memory and more speed. Okay, scripting doesn't matter. Okay, if you write scripting, if it takes 2-3 minutes more or 5 minutes more, it doesn't matter. Okay, one person install Jenkins script in 1 minute. If you install in 2 minutes, it's okay. Not a issue, because our end customers are not using this. Okay? So this is our internal automation purpose. Okay. So we are not affordable to create any manual errors through the manual tasks. That's why we are going for scripting. So as a DevOps and cloud engineer, or any person like SQL developer or anyone, so nowadays everybody is moving towards scripting, okay, because we don't want to do the tasks in a repeat manner. Okay, just like I don't want to carry the logs one by one from our farm to here. I just want to ship them at a time. So the same concept here also. So that is why scripting is also mandatory, and you cannot escape from it. Don't say I don't know coding, because it's not that much complex. It is very simple. So, okay, shell scripting is mandatory. It is 200% mandatory as a DevOps and cloud engineer. So sometimes we get something like Python scripting. So Python is something like special. You can use Python programming language to develop the applications. Okay. So that is something like Django and Flask API. So these are the Python programming that can develop the applications. We have Python scripting. This is very simple. Okay. So Python scripting is to query other systems. So there is a simple difference between shell scripting and Python scripting. Shell scripting is the native. You have to run the script within the server. The Python script can query the other APIs, query the other systems, and it can fetch the data. Okay. So two things, like if two Telugu people are talking, so they are comfortable to speak in Telugu. If a Telugu guy is speaking to the American guy, so he must speak in English. So that is why, so within the Linux server, it is completely native to the Linux. So you can use shell scripting. If one server wants to connect with another server, query some other query for some other data, then you must use Python scripting. Okay. For example, you need to hit the AWS API to fetch some data, then you need to go for Python scripting. So one native scripting, one universal scripting like this is mandatory for DevOps engineer. So you should learn shell scripting for internal. You should learn Python scripting, but don't worry. Every coding, every programming has the same concepts. You don't need to worry about it. It is more easy than any other task actually. Okay, so now we can take up few questions. Naveen Reddy, you have some question?
No, sure.
Okay. Madhusudan Katari.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, scripting, Python scripting, programming, these are to write the scripting, shell, bash. These are what you write Ansible, Terraform, not for scripting, sir.
Okay, shell scripting has some.
Only for shell, bash. These are two. So
yeah,
why?
so Terraform, anything which has these characteristics, right? You can call it as scripting. So Ansible has conditions, Ansible has loop, Ansible has variables, Ansible has functions. Similarly, Terraform also has the same things. So that is why you just call it as scripting.
Ansible and Terraform also to calling for to write scripting.
I mean, they have their own syntax. Okay, so these concepts are universally same in any programming and scripting, but a syntax change, a syntax difference is there. Simple syntax difference. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, most welcome. Pavadeep.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Pavadeep.
Sir, I'm currently working in Infosys.
Okay.
I have 2.7 years of experience in automation testing. Now I want to shift to another domain like AWS DevOps or Service Now. I'm a little bit confused. Can you please clarify in this?
Okay, so if you ask me, like I'm the person teaching DevOps. If you ask me, I can say if you ask me like, can I learn data science or DevOps? If I will only tell you DevOps.
Okay.
So you should not ask me these kind of questions ideally.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, so if you decide to learn DevOps, then I am saying I can teach you the best. Okay, if you go, for example, if you go to any institute, they have some something like JBoss training. If you go and ask them, is JBoss training is good? Then obviously they will tell, yes, it is very good. It has a lot of future. You can get more packages. It is very simple. So they will tell you like that.
Yes.
Okay. So why I am conducting these overview sessions is to make you understand what is DevOps and you can take the right decision. But after watching these sessions also, if you ask me same question, I don't know what to tell you. If you are interested in DevOps, definitely you can join.
Yes, sir. Can I use this experience in DevOps and move forward?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
That's what you have to do.
Yes. 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 That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Bye. Chaitanya.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning.
Hmm.
Is Python programming language must and should be learned, sir?
Yes, I am saying it is mandatory nowadays. Okay. Sometimes it is optional, so they don't care. Because if you learn one scripting language, then it is very easy. Just trust me. If you learn shell scripting, you can do anything. Don't think scripting is very complex. Okay. So everybody is feeling scared when I say scripting. Don't think scripting is complex. Okay. If you learn one scripting, then each and every other scripting is same. Don't worry about it. They understand the concept. Don't worry about that.
First of all,
Sorry, your voice is not clear. You can type the question.
okay.
Rajesh Itakoti, you have some question?
Hi, sir. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yesterday night I contacted you. Know.
Okay, yeah. Tell me.
Yes, sir. For example, if the employees learn the other technologies like data engineering, big data, like in the upcoming future, if the technology was decreasing, mean there is opportunity to move or jump into the another one. Like these DevOps also, suppose after the 5 years or 7 years, we cannot predict how it will be. Then what is the further option to get
No,
like
DevOps
similar?
is not like that. So DevOps has a lot of future. We will get artificial intelligence operations. Maybe it will take after 5 or 6, more than 5 years.
Okay. And
So
also,
even after 100 years, you
okay.
must deploy the applications into the servers. Okay. So DevOps is the way to deploy applications automatically. So what is the DevOps? So DevOps is itself is yesterday I discussed more on that, right? So if you have attended that session, DevOps is about the process improvement.
Yes, sir. Yesterday I watched a YouTube video recorded.
See, I'm saying after 100 years also, you need to deploy the applications into the servers. So at that time also, DevOps is the way. Because DevOps itself is saying, I have to improve continuously. Then that itself is the future. So maybe after 6, 7 years, now whatever we are learning today, that is not the way. That may become the bad way. So you will get the new way of deployment. But the concepts are same.
Okay. Sir, also one thing I am willing to ask. So suppose nowadays there are many of people are learning the DevOps because of they believe that there is a no coding in it. So it is a major point. So in this competition, if I want to get the place quickly, then what are the advantages? And
Then
what are the
you need to practice very well. Okay.
So everyone learn the similar tools only, sir. Then
Then
what is the
we can't go to them and ask them stop learning.
mhm.
How many number of persons will take IAS coaching?
Yeah,
So
really.
all of them
Thank
become
you.
district collectors or IAS.
Okay.
Whoever practice well, I no need to explain this. Okay, these are like silly questions I can say.
No, in the
If you
real time, I was
practice,
I
I'm
was
saying
here.
in real time. I'm saying in real time only.
Yeah.
If you practice well any technology, obviously you'll get the job. You
Because
should
of
not
my
think like
colleagues
others are also practicing, others are also doing the same thing. How can I get the job? Don't feel the competition from others. You do what you
because
what
I
you want.
heard that my friends he was had good knowledge on the DevOps, but till now he didn't get shortlisted his resume on the job
So,
portal.
so do you think IT companies are doing something wrong, or he's not doing right?
I'm feeling that's what only, sir. What is the behind of that?
I
Why
don't
he
know.
is not
I
getting
don't know.
opportunities
So you
like?
should get the answer for it yourself. If you
Okay.
practice well, if you apply it properly, lakhs and crores people are working in IT or across the world. So why
Okay.
everybody in India is trying to get software job? Why can't you become electronics engineer? Why can't you become civil engineer, mechanical engineer? I am myself as an electronics guy. Why I'm choosing software? Why you came to this session actually? Because everybody feels IT has more packages. IT has more opportunities.
But I heard that more
Again, you
than
should
the
not question yourself. There is a lot of competition. Obviously, competition is everywhere in the fields. Can you enter cinema industry? Is that easy?
yeah, no, sir.
So
I am not thinking in that
yeah.
perspective, but I am thinking that is there any extra specific skills to expose ourselves like in this
So
field? Like,
that is what I am spending these 5 days time. I am
okay,
telling you what are the mandatory things you should be aware to become DevOps engineer. So today, what I told you, Linux and scripting is mandatory.
okay,
Okay, so you should learn Linux operating system. You should learn shell scripting
okay.
and Python scripting. So then
Okay.
you are good in that area. Okay.
Okay. Currently, I'm working in .NET and Azure Cloud Supportive related projects, sir. So if I complete this DevOps and if I gain the knowledge completely, then can I move on to the DevOps without any project experience?
Obviously, yes. So now, what is the age of Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai? At least 50, right? So do you
Yes,
think they started, now they are speaking about artificial intelligence. Do
yes,
you
yes,
think
sir.
they started their career with as an artificial intelligence engineer?
No, sir.
So maybe they started their career as something Unix administrator or something like a C language developer or COBOL
Yeah.
developers. But now
Okay.
they are speaking about artificial intelligence. So
Okay.
everybody in IT should upgrade.
Okay.
So that is
Yes,
what you
finally, you are
do.
confidently saying that there is a huge scope in the future also.
Confidence should not from me. Confidence should get from yourself. Definitely, there is a future scope.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Fine, clear. Thank you.
Vasanta Krishna, you have some question?
Hi, Shiva.
Yeah, hi.
I'm the data architect in MNC.
Oh, sorry, which architect?
Data architect.
Data architect. Yeah, very nice. Yes.
Then how that the DevOps training will help me to in my data architect position or in some other career side.
Okay, so I said DevOps is the way of deploying applications automatically. So we can treat the data also as an application. For example, if a Facebook server is running, if they want to do some database changes, like they want to add extra columns, extra tables. So instead of creating the tables and altering the columns manually, so we can create a pipeline for that also. Liquibase, do you heard of you heard anything about Liquibase?
No.
Okay, so Liquibase is a deployment of data related applications, especially RDBMS. So, for example, you become data science engineer in future. So you need to deploy a lot of applications into the servers. So as a data science engineer, so we don't prefer you to deploy the applications manually. So and you need to run the applications into the Kubernetes. You need to create the infrastructure, the data infrastructure using Terraform. So DevOps is like a universal skill. with whatever the area you are working, either you are working as a developer, data engineer, or even you are working as a tester also, daily you need to work with something like Jenkins, Git, Maven, something like this. So that is why DevOps and cloud is important in each and every technology. So it's in future, so everybody should understand this. And we have some expertise team like DevOps and cloud engineers.
And what is the difference between the DevOps with Azure and the DevOps with the AWS?
There is no difference actually. We need some platform to create an infrastructure. So you can either use AWS platform or you can use Azure platform. So I want you to create the server. For example, as a business guy, I don't care where you create the server. You can create in your AWS, you can create in Azure. So based on lot of factors like number of resources, budget, based on lot of factors, you decide yourself. So companies can decide yourself. So clients, they don't give any recommendations to use particular cloud. Okay. For example, if you are from TCS, you are doing a project for some bank. So banks will ask you which cloud is good. Then you can say your opinion based on lot of factors. Okay, but DevOps is same across any cloud. It is same on-premise, it is same on AWS, it is same on Azure. We need some infrastructure. How you create that infrastructure is matter. So between on-premise and then cloud, we definitely choose cloud. So inside the cloud vendors, based on many factors, you can select which cloud you want.
As a part of this curriculum, are you covering the AWS cloud or
AWS cloud?
Yeah, it is what you required for the DevOps only. You are teaching that portions, or you are giving some
AWS Cloud Architect Associate.
Oh, AWS cloud. Okay, that means you are covering more than the whatever it's required for the DevOps.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm good. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Most welcome. Bye bye. Vishwanath Reddy. Sujata. Sujata. Okay. E.G. Manohar.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So actually, I done my bachelor's in civil engineering, and I have 4 years career gap right now. So before that, I've learned front-end development with React.js technology, but I didn't find that much helpful for my career. So that's why I want to change the domain.
Okay.
So is it DevOps is used? Can I get a fresher role as a DevOps engineer?
Okay, so these kind of questions I will answer at the in the last session. Okay. So this is not the time. First, I want all of you guys should understand what is DevOps.
Okay.
So if I tell you these questions in the first session itself, then I no need to run the next few sessions. So this is what happening. Everybody wants to become DevOps engineer, but they don't have some patience to understand about DevOps. They will ask their friends, their relatives, everybody will say their opinion. Finally, they are confused. This is the reason I am starting these sessions to make you understand what is the overview of DevOps. So later you can take the decision. So in the first session or second session, if itself, if you ask, can I become DevOps engineer? Can I become DevOps engineer? If I start answering those questions, then I cannot give the overview of other concepts. Okay. So I'm restricted to tell you these things. So today I talk about Linux and scripting.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have any doubts, if you ask in this, then you are good. Otherwise, you need to wait for a few more days.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all for today. So I can say finally 1 point, Linux and shell scripting is mandatory. Python is also becoming mandatory. Okay. But for now it is fine. Okay. So thank you so much. Yes.
This Python scripting and Linux scripting, you will give classes, or we will learn myself only?
No, I will teach.
Okay, fine. Actually, you told that videos is there in YouTube. That's why I'm asking.
No, I'm saying before coming to the sessions, prepare it. Then
Okay,
you will
okay.
get more confidence. Again, we will discuss.
Okay, thank you, Shiva. That's it. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So start preparing Linux. We have the complete content available in our channel. If you search Join DevOps space Shiva, you can see this. Okay. So instead of just waiting for someone to tell you, you can always spend your time to learn something. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank
See
you.
you in
Thank you.
tomorrow's session. Have a nice day.